Welcome to the Taking Care of Tutu podcast. I'm your host, Meg Ovenoff, and today we have Brandon Jarnesky joining us. He is in the construction field, and he's going to be giving us a little bit of background about himself and the company where he works and how they help seniors do home modification. So welcome, Brandon.
Aloha. Thank you for having me, Meg. I really appreciate it.
So I met you, or saw you at least, at we were together on a panel at where we watched a movie about sort of decluttering when seniors are like transitioning from their regular home they've lived in for a long time to some type of different type of living arrangement, like assisted living, for example. And you were one of the panelists, so that's why I asked you to come on. So will you give me a little bit of background about yourself and where you work?
Yeah. Thank you. That was an amazing event, by the way.
Was
And it was my first time watching that movie, so it was
same.
very eye-opening.
Yeah.
Very eye-opening, right?
It
They don't
was
show
really
you
good.
that. They don't show you that anywhere else. You have to go find it.
Yeah. Or
But
Delia has to go find it for
Elia,
us.
she's the best. She's killing it now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So my name is Brandon Jarnesky. I am actually born on Maui. I was born on Wailuku General, right, back in the day. I think
Nice.
it's owned by Kaiser now, right? But
Yeah.
was born there, moved away when I was like 5 or 6, moved to Oahu. Was in Oahu until I graduated, Leadville High School, then went to the Marine Corps for my first
Oh,
term.
yeah.
Went away at like 17, came back in like 2008. I got out, wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
One term wasn't enough.
Yes.
And then from there, I worked at Hawaiian Electric. Then not the best job in the world for me. I needed to be more closer to people, right? I was like in
Yeah.
this little place, hidden away. And then from there, I got into construction. And the last 10 years of my life have been construction, from roofing, waterproofing, remodeling to ground ups to, just everything in between. We do commercial, residential. We're starting to get into more state and federal projects now. And that's the end goal. I want to create a great place to work, right? And a great place to
Yeah.
be that gives the right opportunity. And our company's name is United Construction, right?
I can
We
see
were
it in your background. I can see it in your
Yeah,
background, but yeah.
yeah. And I started last year. So
Okay.
my journey the last couple of years was I was working for people for a long time and making a lot of money. Last year, I asked for partnership for my last business. Hey, I made you guys so much money,
Yeah.
helped you get to this point. I would really like a stake in the outcome.
Yeah.
Right. And they said no. So it really opened my eyes, kind of, was one of that punch in the gut moment where you have to go, I can't waste any more time.
Yeah.
Right. I want to help the most amount of people. And the one thing that I can think about doing that is being able to hire, being able to give opportunity, be able to keep people local, right? To stay here, to live here, to raise a family here. I know a lot of people coming from other places right now and setting up this as a home and totally not against it. I love it. As all, they're good people are good people, but yeah, so it's a little sad, right? To see people leave for better opportunities, cheaper cost of living, all these things play a factor with, almost what we're going to talk about today is as the elderly are left here, right? And their kids go off to the mainland and then these houses, there's no reason to update them or keep them or, and so you have to figure out what it is you're trying to do. And if you're trying to bring the kids back and all these things, right? A lot of them are leaving to go to the mainland to live with the kids and the grandkids and all that stuff.
Can you explain what ADA compliant construction is and why that's really important for seniors?
Right. 100%. Yeah. ADA compliance, it's the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it's just what they want to do is make sure everybody has access to the same level of, care to get in and out of buildings, to be able to access places, to use places, and it doesn't hinder them. Like if you had a building with just stairs versus ones with elevators and so on and so forth. Of course, there are buildings that are grandfathered into that, or they really can't add those type of things to that building and they can't be ADA compliant. But as we're building into the future and newer buildings and all these things, these are things we have to take into account because people are, living longer. But it- just because you live longer doesn't mean you're not in a precarious situation, right? Or a situation where
Yeah.
you need, your
Support.
body starts to age, right? And that's part of life. Um, and we try to make it as comfortable as possible for people to live. And, one of the things in Hawaii is we have a lot of old buildings, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, a lot of old buildings.
On the commercial side, are you doing ADA work to make
Mhm,
commercial
mhm.
buildings compliant? Like, are you putting in
Right.
ramps
Both,
or yeah.
both side ramps, all that stuff, your
Mhm.
elevators, escalators, all the things that you is necessary to make a place compliant. You have to follow it. It's federal code, right?
Mhm.
And especially in the commercial sector, they really have to adhere to these things, right? Residential, you can get away with a little bit more, but no one's trying to stop the elderly from using their house or stay there. But it's just a thing we have to address as the houses get older. And but and it's something they implemented years. Some of these houses were built in 1950s, 1960s, 19 like it's laws have changed and rules and regulations have been added and adjusted throughout the years. So mm,
Or like they keep adding on to the house. Like my house, there's like another step down and then like another weird living room and then a step down. And
no,
that's not accessible.
no, and that's why residential is a little bit, especially if you're a little grandfathered in, and it just depends. And then you have to look at where you're trying to live, right? And uh, as you age and what kind of stuff. So it really is determined by your situation, right? And sometimes
So
it's hard to stay where you are.
what advice would you give? Let's say you're a caregiver, your mom or dad is starting to go through some of the things you talked about with your grandparents. Like, like what's your first step and how would you navigate that in terms of making sure the home is safe?
Okay. Yeah, definitely call us if you have any questions
Yeah.
about anything in construction in general. I'm here to help. And if I don't know, I know someone who does, right? I have friends that have been in this industry for 20, 30 years and we'll find you the answers and solutions you need, And so that's kind of, you know, look at life seriously and just kind of see what it is that's going to make your life easier, so on and so forth, per person, per family, per group that needs to help each other out. And as we age, it's just natural, right? It's just
Yeah.
natural. And so we have to cope as best as we can. And so just understand what you need, right? What does this person really need? Is it care
Right.
24/7? Is it this? Is it
Right.
that? Or can't ride? Find out what they need. If they're in a wheelchair, then that forces your need almost, right?
Yeah.
Like, so definitely find out what they need to make their lives easier.
And if
And
they
if they
call you, are you and it's a good fit for like what they think, what you think they need is
Mhm,
something you can
mhm.
provide. Are you or someone that works with you going to go out to their house to
Yep,
check it out?
we're gonna schedule a visit and we're
Uh-huh.
going to go over everything, our process, what we look at, how we look at everything, ask a bunch of questions, show them exactly what's gonna get touched, right? Like, okay, we're gonna demo all this, but let's say your plumbing behind the wall is probably the same age as your shower, which is 20, 30 years old now. So this would be an excellent time. Yes, it's a little more work, but I would hate for us to close that up and if
Then the plumbing
old
go.
plumbing that just destroyed. Now you just spend all this money on this remodel,
And
and
the
you're gonna
water's brown.
demo it to get to that water again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely want to see everything. We'll never start a project without planning, preparation, and organization. Right. Like we want to get all that stuff together because I gotta know what kind of selections you want, what kind of things you want, where do you want. I can't give you an accurate price if I don't have a good concept and idea of everything you want. And then you need to know your options. So that's why we have to come out,
Mhm.
right? You have to know your options so you can decide what best fits your needs, right?